Hey, it's Russ Ruffino with Clients on Demand, and today I am going to walk you through the process of creating your first high ticket offer. So this could be a professional service that you provide. It could be a coaching program that you want to create. This training is so big that we had to split it up into two parts. So this is part one. Grab a piece of paper because I'm going to walk you through how to turn your knowledge or expertise into an offer that you can price at 5K, 10K, even 15K or more. So let's dive in. Check it out. Oh, hold up there. Nothing that I say on this channel should ever be taken as a claim about what you can do or what you can earn. According to the US Department of Labor statistics, you have less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of building an 8-figure business. All business entails risk. Most businesses fail. All I can do on this channel is share with you what's worked for me and what's worked for my clients. What you do with that information is up to you. All right, back to the video.
Now we're going to actually start the process of mapping out your high ticket offer. So just like with everything we do together, we're going to take this step by step. So in this session, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys some things to think about. So definitely have something to take notes with because I'm going to get you guys thinking, like, what kind of client do you want to work with? I want you to write that stuff down. And then what we're going to do in the next session is we're going to map all of this into what I call a mission statement. And that's a blueprint. That's your North Star for what your coaching business is going to look like. So by just the end of today, you guys are going to have your entire high ticket coaching offer completely mapped out from start to finish. Make sense? All right, let's dive in. So our goal for this session, again, is to completely map out a high ticket offer that's worth 5K to 10K or even more. Now, the strategy that I recommend, again, is for this to be your front end offer. By the end of today, we're going to have that high ticket offer completely mapped out. And tomorrow, we're going to dive into the mechanics of how to sell that offer. But first, we have to create something awesome. So again, our goal is a step-by-step blueprint for crafting a high ticket offer. This is the exact process I use in my business. A lot of what you guys are going to learn today goes against conventional wisdom, and I'm going to be transforming the way that you think about your business. Now, some of these things you're going to understand right away. Some of these things are going to click. You're going to go, dude, Russ, yes. By the end of this session, I know exactly who I am. I know exactly what I stand for. I know exactly what I want to charge. I know exactly who my target audience is. Most of you guys are going to have that experience. So why high ticket? Again, for those of you guys that are just joining us, I just want to recap this. A high ticket offer is anything that's $3,000 to $10,000 on the front end. And the philosophy behind why we do this, again, is very simple. We want to offer the client something that can actually solve his problem. So just like we talked about in the last session, guys, what people are paying you for is an outcome. And so what we want to offer them is something that can actually solve their problem. So let's talk a little bit more about why low ticket doesn't work, because I really want you guys to get your heads around this, right? The old way of doing things is to have this super complicated low ticket funnel. So it might look something like this. People click on an ad. People opt in for some free report. And then you offer them a $7 thingy. You guys might have heard this called a tripwire. That's what people call it, or what they used to call it. And then you upsell them a $27 what have you. And then you upsell them, if they take that, to like the $197 VIP Ninja version. And then you add in some like useless $47 a month subscription that they don't really need. And then you wait 5 days to nurture them because you don't want to sell them something high ticket right away. You invite them to come to a webinar, thank you. And then you finally offer them like a $2,000 VIP program, okay? So like, why is this dumb? This is dumb because each phase of the process, you lose the most qualified people and you get the dabblers. And I really want you guys to understand this. Again, if my marriage isn't working, I know that your $7 thing is not going to magically fix my marriage. And if your $7 thing doesn't fix it, neither is the $27 thing or the $197 thing or anything else. What's going to fix it is a kind of high-ticket transformational program that we're going to build together today. So if somebody wants real help, why would they waste their time buying that $7 thing that they know isn't going to help them? They're not going to buy it. They're going to run, and they're going to go to someone else. Does that make sense? So the other reason this is dumb is that you have to create all this stuff, right? Like people don't think about that. Like that's like 5 offers, right? That's like 5 offers, 5 sales pages. You got to provide customer support for people who buy like all 5 of those things. And it's a nightmare, especially when none of these things help the client win, right? They're still going to be just as stuck in their marriage or whatever it is as they were before they bought that stuff. Only now they've already spent $2,000 to work with you and now they're going to be pissed. Does that make sense? So this is another reason why this low ticket stuff doesn't work. And ultimately, it wastes the client's time by offering him a bunch of junk that can't really solve his problem. And even if they buy everything, they've invested less than $2,500 to work with you. So why not just sell them one thing for like $5,000 that can actually solve their problem, right? Does that make sense? Okay. So if that's the old way, what's the new way? What we're going to do is we're going to sell the client the thing he needs right out of the gate. And we're not going to waste his time with anything else. Guys, when you walk into a Rolls-Royce dealership, they sell you a freaking Rolls-Royce. They don't like sell you a keychain and then try to sell you the floor mats and then try to sell you like a cool Rolls-Royce jacket and then hope if you buy enough of those things, eventually you're going to buy the car. No, they know if you walk into that dealership, you're there to buy the car, so they're going to sell you the car. Now, when you do this, when you just offer people the thing that they really need, some magical stuff happens. First of all, your clients show up committed and they do the work. You're going to have way fewer refunds, way less client drama, and the results you get for your people are going to be way beyond what it is now. However good of results you guys are getting for your clients now, this will make it even better. I promise you. How do I know that? Because I've never had anybody transition from doing one-on-one to doing these kinds of high-ticket offers and transition back. Never. Never in 10 years. Okay? With something like this, everybody wins. Isn't that what we all want? So, let's start at the very beginning. What is your reason why? And you see this like creepy picture of, I think it was that Benjamin Franklin, like staring at you through the slide. It's like, what's your reason why? What's the mark that you want to make on the world? We're going to claim that. We're going to claim that right now. So a high-ticket coaching business, like I said, has incredible income potential. It has the potential for incredibly high profit margins. But really, guys, and this is something I want you to write down, your income is just a measure of the value that you're creating in the world. That's it. That's it. If your income isn't what you want it to be, it doesn't mean you're cursed. It doesn't mean like Mercury's in retrograde or what's happening this week. Apparently there's like solar flares happening or whatever. And I've had people say, oh, there's solar flares happening. That's why I'm not making any sales. It's like, no. Your income is just a measure of the value that you're creating in the world. That's it. You want to make more money? Create more value. That's it. The more people you help, the more lives you impact, the more you're going to earn. It's that simple. So the more people we can help at the highest level, that's how you grow your business, that's how you grow your income, and that's how you do it at the same time. So the question I have for you, this is the first question I want you to write an answer to in your notes. Why is it so important for you to do this? What is that reason why? For me, my reason why is that I want to help 1 million transformational coaches like you create income, freedom, and impact. That's my mission. That's why I am here, to help you do that. My client Meg, like I said in the first session, she saved 955 marriages last year. What would happen if I had 1,000 of her? What would happen if I had 1,000 of her? That's 955,000 marriages that could have gotten saved. My client, Dr. Becky, helps hundreds of dyslexic kids learn to read. What if I had 1,000 of her? That's hundreds of thousands of kids who can read now. That's my reason why. And maybe your reason why is like, dude, my kids, that's it. My dad was a life insurance salesman back in the 70s. And that was not an easy time to do sales, guys. There was no pay-per-click advertising. You couldn't like laser target your stuff on Facebook and get people on the phone and do some of the stuff we're talking about here. No, he had to go door to door. He literally would buy a list of people who just got married, and he would go door to door and he'd knock on their doors and he would try to sell them life insurance. Now, life insurance is not an easy thing to sell because the conversation starts with, hey man, one day you're going to die. Right? Like that's not the best icebreaker. Like that sucks, you know? But that's what you have to do when you're selling life insurance. And so how did he do this? How did he go door to door and like knock on these people's doors and try to sell life insurance? You know what he used to do? He used to take a Post-it note and he used to write, do it for your kids. And he would stick that on his phone. And that's what he would look at every day. And thinking about me and my brothers, that's what made him keep going and do that. And he was very, very successful. And the reason he was so successful is because he had that powerful reason why. The reason this why is so important is because the stronger your why, the harder you will persevere. I'm laying out for you what I believe to be the simplest, fastest, most efficient path to income, freedom, and impact. In my life, guys, I help my clients win all the time. I got plenty of money. I can go pretty much wherever I want to go. I can do pretty much whatever I want to do. That's an incredible, wonderful, blessed, amazing life. But if you think creating that kind of life is going to be a walk in the park, I'm going to be dead honest with you. It's not. Starting any business is tough, and this kind of business is no exception. What's going to help you persevere is this reason why. The more committed you are to it, the more powerful you're going to be in every aspect of your life. Now that we know our reason why, the next thing we need to know is our outcome. And as we talked about in the last session, that outcome is the secret to commanding premium prices. Because people don't pay us for information. They don't pay us because we have celebrity. They don't pay us for our time, and they don't pay us because we got certified in system blah, 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 blah. The only thing your clients care about is the outcome that you can help them achieve. That's it. It's the only thing they care about, all right? So therefore, the more clear you are about the outcome that you provide, the better everything in your business is going to go. And I mean everything. So if you're clear on the outcome that you offer, your marketing, your sales, everything else is going to cut like a razor. It's going to cut right through the noise. Like I told you guys before, we've had some ridiculously successful clients. None of them were successful before they came to us. And a lot of these clients are going to these markets and niches that are super complicated. Helping people lose weight. Like how competitive is that? Helping people save their marriage. That's super competitive too. There's like literally millions of people doing that. And the way that we help our clients achieve success is that the outcome is crystal clear. You guys, when you apply this, are going to be talking to your audience about the only thing they care about, and that's the outcome. And all your competitors are going to be busy talking about themselves. You understand the difference? Right now, your competitors are saying, I'm so awesome. Here's where I went to school. Here's what I did. I did this. I did that. That's why you should hire me. What you're going to do is you're just going to talk about the thing your audience wants most. What can you actually help them achieve? Way too many coaches don't get this. And most of the time, guys, when I see a coach who can't sell their stuff, it's for this reason. It's because the outcome is not clear. Okay? So the fastest way to success is to build 100% of your communication around the outcome that you provide. So the only question you need to ask is this: what's going to get the best outcomes for my clients? As you guys are going forward and building your business, if getting outcomes for your clients is your North Star, it's going to help you make decisions about everything. That'll answer your questions about how to market, how to sell, like literally everything. Literally everything. So Lynn Lee says, I've been blocked here because I'll go, well, how do I know that I can provide that outcome? And I don't want to lie, and I don't want to be dishonest. I'm actually going to take a pause. I'm going to answer that question right now because I think it's a really great question. I think a lot of you guys might be thinking that. What you guys need to understand is that coaching is a two-way street, right? I can't like put a gun to your head and force you to build an amazing business, right? Like you have free will. You can do what you want to do. So my job is not to like guarantee an outcome because you got to do the work, right? And I can't guarantee that you're going to do the work. And neither can you guarantee that for your clients because they're human beings. And you're not God. You're not a genie. You can't just be like, boom, boom, outcome. It doesn't work that way. What you can do is hold up your side of the street better than anyone else on this planet. And that is the commitment that you make to those clients. If you come and work with Clients on Demand, what we tell people is we will hold up our side of the street like no one you've ever seen. We'll give you the best training, the clearest training. We'll give you world-class support. We will basically drag you kicking and screaming into success. But if at the end of the day, you're bound and determined not to do the work, like I can't force you. Like I can't help you, right? So we don't have to guarantee the outcome because that would mean controlling things that we can't control. So the promise that we can make is, look, man, I'm going to give you this step-by-step game plan, just like we drew on the board here. I'm going to give you this step-by-step game plan. If you follow this game plan, you're going to get where you want to go. But you got to do everything I tell you to do, and you got to do it when I tell you to do it. It's very different, guys. It's very different from a lot of the people that go, oh, you know, it's so easy, your grandmother can do it. Like, remember those, like, and you guys can see this in the way that, like, infomercials have evolved, right? So, like, those of you, like, my Gen Xers, like, it looks like we have some fellow, like, Gen Xers here. I want you guys to remember, like, the infomercials that were on, like, in the 80s, right? It was, like, Suzanne Summers and, like, the Thigh Master, remember? And it was like, oh, do this for 30 seconds a day, and, you know, you could do it while you're watching TV, and you're going to have a butt like Suzanne Summers. Well, people are more sophisticated than that now. Right? So what are the infomercials we see today? We see like insanity. Like this is going to be the hardest workout you've ever done. And this workout's going to kick your butt. And you're going to want to die. But you're going to have washboard abs at the end of this. And I'm going to give you 8 reasons to buy insanity. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, it's like people are way more upfront now about the hard part. And you should be too. Like tell your clients, this shit is hard. Because they know it's going to be hard. They know saving their marriage is hard, or they would have done it by now. They know losing like 70, 80 pounds is hard, or they would have done it by now. So when you tell them it's going to be easy, yeah, you're telling them what they want to hear. But deep down, they're thinking, this sounds really good, but I know it's not true. Right? So you tell them, here's what I'm going to do for you. We're really clear on what the outcome is. I'm going to guide you step by step. I will hold your hand every step of the way. If you're not showing up to those damn Q&A calls, I'm going to be all over your case. I'm going to email you. I'm going to tell you, come to these Q&A calls. Come and get the support. Come and get what you need. I'm going to fight for you like no one in your life has ever fought for you before because I want you to win. But what I need from you is I need you to show up. I need you to show up big. That's why the first question I asked you guys is, what is your reason why? Because there are going to be times, even in a model as simple as this, there's going to be times when you want to give up. There's going to be times when you want to quit. There were so many times I wanted to quit, you guys. I want you to understand, I didn't just like snap my fingers and fall ass backwards into all this success. This stuff is hard, right? Someone leaves a nasty comment on your Facebook ad. That's not fun. Someone talks smack on one of your Instagram posts. It's like, forget you. Someone wants a refund. Someone says something about you. Like, stuff happens. And sometimes it's not always easy to deal with. But it's that reason why that makes you persevere. It's that reason why that helps you keep going. Does that make sense? Cool. So yeah. So Lindley, if you're worried about like guaranteeing the outcome, or if any of you guys are worried about that, you don't have to do that. And when they say, do you have a guarantee? It's like, yeah, I guarantee if you don't do this, you're going to stay right where you are. But if you come and you work with me, I'm going to give you the best possible chance of success. And the only way that you can mess that up is if you don't do the work. Because that's the truth. That's the truth. Make sense? Cool. All right. So what is an outcome? An outcome is just a statement of where your audience is stuck now and where they want to go and why it's so important for them to make that journey. So for example, I never want to hear any of you guys say, I'm a relationship coach. Like if I run into you at an event and I say, Caroline Halleck, what do you do? And you say, I'm a relationship coach, I'm going to be very disappointed. Instead, I want you guys to say something like this. I help overworked couples on the verge of burnout save their marriages and fall in love again. That's a clear outcome. That explains who you want to work with and what you do. That's what we're after. We're after that level of clarity. Does that make sense? That's an outcome. All right, so the wrong way, let's just talk a little bit about your value proposition. The wrong way to do this, and again, guys, like I'm pulling back the curtain here because I really want to give you a lot of our secret sauce. There's so many people that are like, Russ, how have you been in business for 10 years? How have you had this much client success? And how have you taken all these people from like total obscurity to having these massive businesses? Well, this is how. And it's because everyone's doing it wrong. The wrong way is to say, hire me because I'm cool and I have amazing branding. I see people all the time who come to work with us. Russ, I'd love to work with clients on demand, but I just spent $20,000 on this beautiful website. And now you have this beautiful website that no one ever sees. Right? Or like, I just hired this video editor, so now my videos are like super ADD and there's stuff flying out and whatever, and it's like, okay, well, there's still nobody watching the videos, okay? The wrong way is to say, hire me because I'm a celebrity. Hire me because I have 1 million followers on Instagram. Well, there's always somebody with more followers on Instagram. Marjorie, I see what you're doing, and you're cracking me up. Yeah, right. Hire me because I'm a celebrity, right? And I have a bajillion followers on Instagram, okay? It's like, or hire me because I'm giving you lots of stuff, right? Like this was this whole thing, like move the free line, like, or like give people more and more and more and more and more and more and more, you know? Hire me because I'm the cheapest. Hire me because it's like that other guy's, you know, gonna save your marriage for $5,000. I'll do it for $29.99. Like you obviously don't want to be in that position. Hire me because I have the best process. We see people all the time talking about their process and how great it is, and that's all they ever talk about. Or hire me because I'm just like you. That's this whole thing with storytelling. Oh, dude, tell your story. Then they'll know, like, and trust you, and they'll realize, like, oh, Russ is just like me. Like, I'm not like a lot of you guys, and a lot of you guys are not like me, and that shouldn't matter. I shouldn't, like, only be able to work with, like, 44-year-old Italians with 4 kids, okay? Like, I should be able to work with, like, all kinds of different people, all right? So your audience doesn't care about any of this stuff, right? The right way is to say, hire me because you are here and you want to be here. Do you understand why that makes things so much simpler? Your marriage isn't working. Do you want it to work? Yes, great. Let's work together. You're a mom, you're a career mom, and you feel like you're stuck in your career and you're burnt out and you have to choose between your career and your kids. Do you want to fix that problem? Great. Let's work together. You've been struggling with type 2 diabetes. Somebody mentioned that before. And you're worried about what that's going to do to your health. Do you want to fix that problem? Great. Let's work together. Do you see how that makes it an easy decision? Yes? Because if I say, hey, man, you have type 2 diabetes and you should totally hire me because I have 1 million followers on Instagram and I've got this really cool process where like you're going to eat seaweed every day and then you're going to lose your type 2 diabetes. And by the way, I like have like 10 certifications and I like went to Harvard and all this other. It's like, now I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You are here and you want to be here. Would you like me to help you do that? Yes. So building everything in your business around the outcome is the best way to immediately stand out in the marketplace, command a premium price, and attract clients who are serious about results. When you do this, you are going to get the people that need help now because they don't care where you went to school. And look, guys, I'm not like knocking like PhDs. If you did the work and you have a PhD, that's great. But I know a lot of broke PhDs. So clearly that's not enough, right? We need to connect with them in a different way. And ultimately what they care about is what you're going to do for them. So that's where we start. That's where we build our communication. That is the key. And the reason I'm harping on this, and you might be thinking, well, Russ, yeah, I get it. Like, be clear about the outcome. Is because every single time I see a coaching offer that doesn't work, it's because the outcome's not clear. So I've been saying this for 10 years. Our clients get it, but there's a lot of people in the marketplace that still don't. Right? And even if we never ever work together, even if you come to this event and I never see you again or hear from you again, I want you to understand this. Because if you just understand this, it's going to save you years of sitting there wondering why your offers aren't working. The biggest reason is because the outcome's not clear. Okay? So the critical question is this: what is the outcome that you provide? And that's what we're going to figure out first. So most outcomes from most high-ticket coaching programs fall into one of three categories. Number one, health. So this could be physical health. This could be mental health. My client, Jason, helps people overcome IBS. That's irritable bowel syndrome. That was a really fun video to write. So that's like a really good example of like a health problem, okay? It could be mental health. I help people overcome burnout, anxiety, and depression, right? Any kind of health challenge. We've had clients that help people overcome autoimmune disorders like Hashimoto's, things like that. So if you're a doctor, acupuncturist, chiropractor, nurse practitioner, dietitian, nutritionist, trainer, any of that stuff, then you're operating in the health space. Does that make sense? The other sector, the next sector is wealth and business. Do you help people in wealth or business? So that could be, I teach investing. That could be, I teach crypto. I teach people how to generate leads for their business. I teach sales. I teach investing. I teach accounting. I teach people how to generate more profit in their business, right? Like I teach people tax strategy. I have a tax strategist that I pay like $40,000 a year to help me save money on my taxes, right? So there's your wealth and your business. Now, I want to point something out here, guys. A lot of people think, and let me just bust this myth right here because it's a really common myth. A lot of people think that if you want to have a high-ticket program, you got to be operating in the wealth space, right? A lot of people say this. Have you guys heard this? Like, oh, yeah, if I want to have an $8,000 program, I better be helping people make $80,000. Or if I want to have a $5,000 program, I better be helping people make $50,000. Our most successful clients are not in the wealth and business space. Let me say that again. Our most successful clients are not in the wealth and business space. Our most successful clients are helping people be better parents. Our most successful clients are helping people have better health. Our most successful clients are helping people find true love or save their marriage or whatever. So it's those intangible outcomes that in many ways are more valuable than just helping people make more money. So if any of you guys are in like a personal space and you're not in a wealth space and you're thinking, well, dude, who would pay me this much money to, help them be a better parent? It's like, man, I'll tell you right now, I'll spend a lot of money to make my business work. I'll spend everything I have on my kids. Does that make sense? And then finally, relationships. Health, wealth, and relationships. That could be parenting. That could be dating. That could be helping your marriage work. Could be any of those things. Could be helping people. We've had clients who have had offers helping people overcome grief, helping people overcome self-sabotage. And I would say wrapped all around this as well, if you wanted to add a fourth sector, would be something like personal and spiritual development. That's a huge market. But most offers fall into health, wealth, or relationships. Okay? Because within those three areas, there's like an infinite number of outcomes. So we talked about some of these in the last session, but let me just refresh your memory again now that we're thinking about it. Our 5,000 clients, it's actually 6,000 since I made these slides, have built high-ticket offers around all of these and more. So again, Kate, career mom, helps people overcome burnout. She works with working moms to help them overcome burnout. Megan Alfred, save people's marriages. I saved 955 marriages last year and 833 marriages before that. Mo helps women get promoted in their careers and get the promotions and pay raises they deserve. Garrick helps doctors use functional medicine. Becky, who you guys are going to meet on our inspiration panel tomorrow, she's the one that helps dyslexic kids learn to read. That's just 5 examples out of 6,000 that I could give you. So all of these clients were undercharging and trading time for dollars when they came to us. And now all of them are running these massive coaching businesses. That's the power of outcome. So this whole thing, everything that I'm going to teach you guys, it all depends on us today getting clear about that outcome that you deliver. And that just means making a choice. It means putting your flag in the ground and saying, hey, this is the outcome I deliver. And if you're not sure if that outcome is valuable, that's why I'm here. Ask me. Like, hey, Russ, I teach people how to play the accordion. Is that a valuable high ticket offer? I'm going to say probably not, but maybe we can make it work, okay? So whatever you're thinking about that outcome might be, let me know. One of our most successful clients, I wish I could tell you how much money he made, but I'm not allowed to. One of our most successful clients came to us and asked if he could put together a high ticket handstand coaching program. So he came to Clients on Demand and he said, I'm a handstand coach. Now, this is one that our enrollment team enrolled him into the program, but they hit me up on Slack and they said, hey, Russ, look, man, I want you to know I enrolled this guy. He's got a handstand coaching program. Is that going to be something he can charge $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 for? And I was dead honest. I said, you know what? I don't know. So I actually called him up and I got on Zoom with him and I said, hey, Brian, look, man, I know we enrolled you into the program, but I just want you to understand, we've never worked with a handstand coach before. That might be something you could charge $6,000 or $7,000 for, but I really don't know. And I just have to be dead honest with you. Like, I'm happy to give it a shot if you want to go for it. But if you know, look, man, if you want a refund, I'll give you a refund right now because it's like, I don't know if that's going to work. And he was like, no, man, let's go for it. And he absolutely crushed it. Like, crushed it with this high ticket handstand coaching program. Like, the guy is just like, I can't even, I want to say, but I can't. The guy's crushing it. Just take my word for it. It was bananas how well it worked. So look, if you're not sure what your outcome is, here's some quick questions you could ask yourself. Number one, what's the coolest outcome you've achieved for yourself? What have you done for yourself, right? Did you save your own marriage? Did you lose 60 pounds or 70 pounds? Did you have some challenges that you had to deal with? You had, some trauma that you overcame, or whatever it is. What is that outcome that you've achieved for yourself? Another question, what's the coolest outcome you've achieved for a client? So let's say you're like Jane, who you guys met earlier. Jane has been coaching for 30 years. She's helped people overcome every single problem on the planet. There was a gal in the chat, Christine, I think your name was. Christine, I think it was Christine Knapp, who's like a mindset coach. So someone like Christine, I don't know if this is true about you, but I'm going to use you as an example, even if I'm totally wrong. You've probably helped people solve all kinds of problems, right? So it's like, okay, yeah. She's like, yes, I have. Okay, great. So someone like that, sometimes it's like, well, damn, Russ, I can help you do anything. Well, what's my outcome? Okay. So you would ask yourself, what is the coolest outcome that you've achieved for a client? So look back over your client base and just see, are there any like patterns there? Like Christine, if you look back over your clients, it's like, okay, you know what? Actually, if I think about it, like 70% of my clients are women between 40 and 60 who are stuck in trying to make a career transition. Okay, boom. There you go. That could be your outcome. Does that make sense? So what's the coolest outcome that you've achieved for a client? Number three, what's a problem that you know you can solve? Is there a pattern among the clients that you've seen, like I just said? What changes happen in your clients' lives when you work with them? And like, who are your best success stories? So think about that for a minute. What we want to do is we want to create our outcomes and have them be as specific as possible. So Frank, I'm just going to use you as an example. You said I help people improve their mental health. What kind of people and what kind of mental health, right? Try to make that a little bit more specific. So a better outcome might be something like I help people who are over age 50, who are worried about cognitive decline, keep their minds sharp, well into their golden years, or something like that. You see, you're basically saying the same thing, but now you're making it a little bit tighter and more specific. So now we're going to switch over to your ideal client. Who do you want to work with? So we want to not just know I help people achieve this outcome. We want to know who you help, right? So to go back to like some of these other offers, like we had people that said things like, I help people overcome, childhood trauma. Well, it's like, okay, fine. Like all people, anybody? It's more powerful if we narrow it down a little bit. I help working professionals overcome their childhood trauma so they can lead rich and fulfilling lives and stop self-sabotaging, right? So once you know your outcome, the next step is to identify your ideal client because you can't help everyone. It's really important that you guys understand this. Every wizard has circumstances under which their magic will work. You must not enroll people that you can't help or that you don't want to help. So you need to know who you want to work with and do not settle. You feel like you're in a position where you sort of like do what you have to do, and this person really wanted to work with you, this person really wanted to hire you, but and you needed the money, and you kind of had this feeling that you shouldn't have worked with this person, and then you have to work with them because you feel like you don't have a choice. I never want any of you guys to be in that position, and that's why I called my company Clients on Demand. Because when you have clients on demand, and you can snap your fingers and get a new client anytime you want, that means that you never, ever, ever have to settle. Ever. You can pick and choose who you want to give your magic to and who you don't. And if someone's giving you a hard time, someone's busting your butt, you don't have to work with them. You are in the driver's seat. Okay? You are not like Daniel-san going to Mr. Miyagi saying, oh, please teach me karate. You're Mr. Miyagi. You're Yoda. You're the one with the golden goose. You're the one with the power. You have the knowledge. And people are coming to you, and if they want what you've got, they've got to show up the right way. That's why it's so important for you guys to have standards, because I want you guys to have as many clients as you want, but the wrong client will ruin your life. We talked about income, freedom, and impact. That's one of the things I want to give you freedom from. I want you to have the freedom to work with who you want to work with, when you want to work with, how you want to work with. All right? So think about who you help get the outcome. And then let's ask a few questions. Number one, is this audience in massive pain? Who needs that outcome? Are they in pain? So like, for example, if you help kids in junior high learn how to play the triangle, they're probably not in massive pain. So we probably want to pick a new audience, okay? Number two, do they have purchasing power? Now, this one's important. There's so many people that we've worked with in the past who have said, oh, Russ, I'm a business coach, and I only work with the CEOs of $200 million companies. And I'm like, really? Why? And they go, oh, well, if they're not running a $200 million company, they're probably not going to spend $5,000 on a coaching program. And I'm like, that is absolutely not true, okay? So when I say, do they have purchasing power, what I mean is like, do they have access to a credit card, right? So if your target audience is, again, like kids in junior high, no, they're not your target audience. Their parents are your target audience because the parents have the purchasing power and the kids don't. Can they be targeted on social media? That's pretty much everyone. Pretty much everyone can be targeted on Facebook and Instagram. And then is this market growing or at least not shrinking? So let's say, for example, that you're like, Russ, I don't know, I help telegraph operators get really good at the telegraph. It's like, okay, well, that technology's been dead for 100 years. That market's definitely not growing. And then finally, do you want to work with them? And I would submit to you guys that your audience needs to meet all 5 of those criteria. Okay, so just to go back, they need to be in massive pain. They need to have purchasing power. They need to be able to be targeted on social media. And if you're not sure if your audience is, you just ask me and I'll tell you. The market needs to be growing or at least not shrinking. And you need to want to work with them because I don't want you guys to have an offer with people that you don't want to work with. Okay? Your audience must meet all 5 of these criteria. So, can you help everyone in this market or do you have requirements? So for example, my program, my company, Clients on Demand, is only for coaches and business owners who can solve a major life or business problem and who want to command premium prices. If you can't solve a major life or business problem, like we said at the very beginning of today, I can't really help you, right? You got to be able to solve that major life or business challenge. So what are your requirements? So let's take a second right now. Let's put on some work music. I want you guys to write down who you want to work with and what your requirements are. All right, the next thing I want you guys to think about is personality traits. So like if someone meets your requirements, what personality traits would you love for them to have? So at Clients on Demand, we want to work with clients that are three things: coachable, decisive, and resourceful. So coachable, meaning they show up and do what we tell them to do. Decisive, meaning they make fast decisions. And resourceful, meaning that they actually will do their best to solve a problem. It's not about having money. It's about being committed to finding a solution. So what are the three qualities of clients that you most love to work with? Now we're going to flip the script. Who are the people that we don't want to work with? So who will you absolutely not work with under any circumstances? I want you to write down 3 qualities of people that you will reject. Let's keep going. So jot that down quickly. Doesn't have to be your final answer. Just write down 3 qualities of people that you don't want to work with. All right. Now we're going to talk about the heaven and the hell. Okay? So the purpose of your high ticket offer is to take people from the hell that they're in now and move them into the outcome. And we call that the heaven. So the better you understand how it feels to be in the hell and how it feels to be in the heaven, the more powerful your marketing will be. Okay? So again, what we want them to do is we want them to hire us because they're here and they want to be here. And that ties in, like you said, James, empathy. That's the key. That's the key. So like Lynn Lee, we talked earlier, and you said you wanted to help moms that were not feeling great in their body. Maybe they're having some health challenges. They don't like the way they look. They don't like the way they feel. They're overwhelmed. They're burnt out. Like the more you spend time thinking about how that feels, the better your marketing is going to be. So I want you guys to understand, we're not going to do this right now. We're going to do it when we come back. But we're going to write a little bit about how it feels to be stuck in that hell. Your marriage isn't working. How does that feel? Your business isn't working. How does that feel? You know, you're overwhelmed with your kids. How does that feel? You're having some sort of health challenge. How does that feel? Someone in the chat said something like, "I work with people who have clean blood work, but they feel terrible all the time." What does that feel like, right? Like the copy writes itself. Does this sound like you? Are you tired of standing there in the doctor's office and listening to the doctor tell you, hey, there's nothing wrong with you, but you know deep down inside that you're sick and nobody seems to believe you? Do you go and get tests and blood work, and every time you look at that blood work, everything seems to be okay on the surface, and you feel like they're gaslighting you because you know there's something wrong? Do you feel like you have no one to turn to? Do you feel like nobody believes you? If you are in that market and you talk to people that way, they're going to say, yes, what do I do? And that's what we want. Does that make sense, guys? So the more powerfully we can describe where they're going and where they are, the better all of our marketing is going to be. And then there's the hell. There's where are they stuck right now? One of my favorite Tony Robbins quotes is, people will do more to avoid pain than they will to pursue pleasure. So people will do more to get out of a bad situation than they will to take the risk to get into a good situation. So what that means is, for most people, they're not buying their way into something, they're buying their way out of something. So the better you understand the hell that your clients are in, the more powerful your communication is going to be. And guys, I really want you to understand this. It's easy to talk about where you went to school. It's easy to talk about where you got certified. It's easy to talk about your approach. It's harder to talk to people about the pain that they're in. But when you do that, you connect with them immediately and you establish their authority, your authority. Make sense? So use your imagination. Step into the client's shoes. It's not enough to just ask the questions. You have to go there in your imagination, and you have to do this every day, right? How is this affecting their family? How is this affecting their finances? How is this affecting their faith in themselves, their health? What happens if they don't figure this out? They're looking at their blood work. Their blood work is clean. They feel terrible. They're getting weaker every day. They know something is wrong. What happens if they don't figure this out? What happens 5 years from now? Right? Like those frustrated and burnt out moms. You know, what happens 5 years from now? Somebody had an offer. I'm sorry, I forget who it was, but they help people reconnect with their teenage daughters. They help fathers reconnect with their teenage daughters. Your daughter's 14. What happens if you can't figure this out? Your daughter's 16. She's running with a bad crowd. She's getting into drugs. You got 2 years before she turns 18. What's going to happen if you can't figure it out? Do you understand why being crystal clear on this is so important and so powerful? If I'm in that situation, it's not just, Russ, you better do something about this. It's, Russ, you better do something about this now. And that's the key. Now. Why do they have to change their life now? Why do they have to hire you now? Why do they have to fix this problem now? Understand? What about 10 years from now? And how is this problem getting worse every day? So I want you to think about this just a little bit now. I'm not going to have you guys write like paragraphs and paragraphs on it because we have to move forward. But this is something I really want you guys to think about. The more vividly you can describe the pain that your audience is in, the more they are going to assume that you have the answer to that pain. Does that make sense? And then there's the heaven. Where are you going to take them? So we want to not just describe the pain they're in now. We want to flip the script and we want to imagine the heaven. So you're the client. You just got the outcome, right? I just finished working with Heavy and my life is like paradise. Like, I got my housekeeper, she's taking care of stuff, I got my job, I got my this, my kids are taken care of, someone's washing the dishes, this is handled, someone's feeding the dog. It's like, what do I do with myself? Like, what do I do with my time? This is incredible. Like, I'm just going to what am I going to do? Am I going to binge watch, Game of Thrones or Survivor or something? What do I do with all this time? So you ask yourself, how is your life experience different on a daily basis? Okay? And Jürgen just said something really important in the chat over here in room 1. He said, this goes beyond empathy or emotional connection. You have to live it. And that's what I really want you guys to understand. If I say, hey, how is their life better? And you go, oh, well, yeah, they're going to make more money. It's like, all right. But you got to go there in your imagination. What's that going to feel like, right? So how is your day-to-day life different? What's the improvement in your health, in your wealth, in your relationships? How can you measure it? What powers do you have that you didn't have before? How are these moms going to feel, Lindley, when their health is under control, their skin looks fantastic, they're happy with the way they look, they're breezing through life again? What hassles are you free from now? What are these day-to-day hassles that you've been having to deal with every single day that you don't have to worry about anymore? And how does that affect the rest of your family? How does that affect your wealth? How does that affect your confidence? Et cetera, et cetera. Make sense? You want to take the time to think this stuff through. What is the hell that they're in right now? How does it feel to be there? And what's the heaven that they're going to go to when they're done working with you? This is what I want you to think about. Because the other stuff is pretty straightforward. What's the outcome you provide? Who do you want to work with? Who do you not want to work with? That stuff's pretty straightforward. But what I want you to be thinking about is what is the hell that your audience is in right now? And how does it feel to be there? And what's the heaven that you're going to take them to? How does that feel? Okay? And then the next thing I want you to think about as well is what is the path to victory? What is the journey from the hell to the heaven? Okay? So now we know what the hell looks like. We know what the heaven looks like. Let's create our path to get them there. So I want you to take a piece of paper and I want you to draw 2 circles just like I did over here. Great. One of them, hell, and one of them, heaven. Okay? I'll do this myself right now. Hell, this is where they are. Heaven, this is where they're going. Okay? And I want you guys to begin to think about what are the steps that they have to go through to make that journey. Does that make sense? So like I talked about before with heavy, maybe the first thing is get that help. How do we find that person? And then maybe the next step is we begin to delegate like house stuff. And then maybe the third thing is maybe they have some guilt around that. They feel bad. They feel like they're not being a good mom if they're not the one doing the dishes, and you got to break through that limiting belief, right? And then the next thing is now we begin to structure stuff with the kids. And then maybe the next thing is, and again, I'm just making this up. I'm not like a burnout expert, okay? Maybe the next thing is we make some time for self-care, right? Like, how are they going to take care of themselves? How are they going to replenish? How are they going to recharge, right? Like, I really have to help my wife do that because we have 4 kids. Like I said, they're totally nuts. And it's like we have to really carve out time for her to do that. Does that make sense? This doesn't have to be set in stone. This doesn't have to be the end all be all how you're always going to do this. But I just want you to think, what's the hell? How does it feel like when they're there? What's the heaven? How good does it feel to be there? And like, what are the steps? Or what might the steps be? It doesn't have to be like the definitive all-time guide to doing this. Does that make sense? So again, the hell, the heaven. And what I want you guys to do is just brain dump and then like eliminate. Like write down what those steps could be, and maybe you end up with 12 steps, and maybe you can pare it down to like 8. Right? What could you combine? What could you eliminate? Can you get rid of any of these steps? What we want to do is we want to make your offer as lean as possible. How do we get them from A to B in the fewest number of steps? So one of the biggest mistakes people make when they're putting together a high ticket offer like this is that they think that the way that you justify the price is to add more stuff, right? And they just are like, oh, I'm going to give people more stuff. The more stuff you give people, the harder you make it for them to get the result because they have to just consume all this stuff that they don't need. So you want to make your programs like as lean as possible. And ultimately, I love it if we can narrow it down to like 8 to 10 possible steps. We can always change it later, and we will. But for right now, we just want to know the 8 to 10 basic steps they need to take to move from the hell to the heaven as efficiently as possible. So now your signature offer. So let's just recap. Now we know the outcome we provide, who we want to provide it for, who we don't want to provide it for. We know how awful it is to be in the hell. We know how great it is to be in the heaven. And we know the basic idea of how you're going to get people from one step to the next. When we come back, we're going to write a mission statement together that's going to be the backbone of your high ticket offer. So all I wanted to do on this session is just introduce you guys to some of these concepts for you to think about. And in the next session, we're going to bring it all together into this fully mapped out high ticket offer. So you know exactly what you do. You know exactly who you do it for. We know exactly what we want to charge. This session, I just kind of wanted to introduce you guys to the concepts and get your brain working in this direction. And then in the next session, we're going to tie it all together and put it into this mission statement, which is going to be like a 1-pager of your high ticket coaching business. And we're going to make it super cool, super inspiring, something that you could read every night before you go to sleep, the first thing you read when you wake up in the morning, and we're going to create that future together.
All right, this training continues with part 2. You can click there and we will finish mapping out your high ticket offer. But if you've already heard enough, you've already seen enough, you know that you want our help, not just to map out your high ticket offer, but to get it off the ground. So maybe you already have a high ticket offer and it's just not converting, or you're not generating enough leads, you're not enrolling the people that you want to enroll. We can help. What I want you to do is look at the description of this video and click the link to book a call with our team. It's clientsondemand.com/apply. Book a call to talk to us, and we'll talk soon. And check out part 2.